Today at Management Denker we have a wonderful guest, Professor Philip Kotler. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions to the visitors of our website. Your new book is announced with the title Marketing 3.0.
Yes.
How is marketing changing in the next decade?
Well, marketing is always changing, and you're right, because I could even show you the main concepts that came by decade. And I've already pulled it all the way to 2009. But I think that a new thing that's coming about is more and more consumers will start thinking that many categories of products are very similar. We call this commoditization. That is, competitors seem to copy whatever someone else is doing, so you wonder, how do you make a choice when there's 10 brands of deodorants and 16 shampoos and all that? And maybe one of the ways to make a choice in the future will be what you know about the company and what you think about them. Now, we know a lot of the company names, but some companies will stand out for really not only some corporate social responsibility, but for deeply caring about the whole human being, not the person who just buys the shampoo, not, you know, they have a broader view of the consumer and the customer. And this will be in more advanced economies where this might come up, like in Scandinavia. So Marketing 3.0 tries to say, don't only appeal to the mind and prove that you have higher performance, don't only emotionalize the appeal, try to appeal to the human spirit in what you're offering and what you're doing as a company.
So let's have a look back to the roots of marketing. Peter Drucker said business has only two functions, marketing and innovation.
Yes.
Is this true?
Oh yes, he didn't say it that way exactly, that there are only two functions. He said that of all the functions, the two entrepreneurial functions are marketing and innovation. And he said all the other functions are costs. Now, some people who are not either doing innovation or marketing may resent that, because they are doing, I'm sure Peter elsewhere said, all functions must work together and they're all important and essential. But he did label those two. Now, what about those two? Are they different? For example, when you innovate, it's not separate from marketing. In fact, it's a group of people working on an idea with some marketing thoughts of who the customer is and what the customer wants. So marketing is part of innovation. And innovation is necessary to do good marketing. If it means more broadly, not only must you make something new, but think of ways to get it out there, creative ways, new channels of distribution, sell it through the internet, all kinds of things. So there's a fuzziness about the two. I don't think they're separate functions. I think, in fact, we could say every function of a company should be managed in an innovative way. Like if you're in manufacturing,
yes,
you should think innovatively about operations. If you run a restaurant, you should think innovatively about it. And also, every function should have a marketing kind of thing, if only to mean by that, this is going to impact on the customer. I got to know how my financial operations impact on the customer. How news about my company impacts about the customer. I'm sort of marketing conscious all the time in all of my functions.
So, do you see some German companies or organizations that do a good job in marketing? Do you have any examples in your mind?
Yeah. For example, your automobile companies, your Mercedes and BMW, done Audi, a terrific job. By the way, the world's largest automobile company company happens to be Volkswagen today, in terms of number of cars. Of course, they bought Porsche, but they are leaders. So the auto industry has been exceptional. In fact, talking about innovation, I heard about a plant, a factory for making cars in one of your German cities that is unbelievable. I saw the film on it. You can be outside of the factory and you can watch the cars being made because it's all glass. Do you know that factory?
It's Autostadt at Hannover.
Hannover.
Wolfsburg, Entschuldigung. Excuse me, it's Wolfsburg, the original town of Volkswagen.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, it's
close to Hannover. It's not that far away from Hannover.
Yes. Now, other companies, you have your own P&G Unilever company. I'm thinking of Henkel.
Henkel. Oh, I know.
All right, now let's start over again. Now, you ask about companies in Germany that are impressive, and I would certainly cite the automobile companies that you have. I mean, I would cite Mercedes and BMW and Audi, and of course Volkswagen is the biggest company in the world now. I would also say Henkel, very smart company, and so on. And Bosch gets a very good
Bosch,
name. Bosch gets a very good name in auto parts and so on. I mean, most auto companies say, well, if we're going to get help from suppliers, that's the company we want to be our supplier. There's a lot of washing machines and large appliances that come from some of your famous companies. I'm more exposed to the ones made in the United States, but I know you have in printing equipment and in chemicals. There's no limit to what Germany makes well and is a leader in.
Okay. So here in Germany we have a huge social market with emerging competition. Which advice can you give to non-profit organizations in social marketing? What does that mean?
Well, I want to draw a difference between non-profit marketing and social marketing. Non-profit organization marketing really means there's museums, there's theater groups, social service organizations. They're providing a service, entertainment or help or whatever. That's not like marketing a cause. So I like to use social marketing to mean when you are trying to change behavior in a good way, where everyone agrees it's better not to smoke, it's better not to use hard drugs and all that. So social marketing is, you could say it's done by nonprofit organizations, that's right, but a lot of nonprofit organizations are just creating services, but not doing it at a profit. Social marketing is embedded in the notion, let's take the problem of poverty. Take the problem of bed nets, where you want mothers and fathers to put a bed net over their child who sleeps so they don't get bitten by malaria or something, bitten by mosquitoes. And then if you watch behavior, you see funny things like some mothers want to make a dress out of the material. I mean, so you can't just think that the right things are going to happen with for example, now there's another thing where Procter & Gamble invented something you can put in dirty water that you shouldn't be drunk, but it will make it drinkable. You don't want the mother to use that powder in another way, but maybe she thinks it can do something else for her that's magical.
Yeah.
So my work in poverty led me to believe that, and that's why I wrote a book called Up and Out of Poverty, that social marketing could take many of these problems and analyze them from a behavioral perspective, understand the sources of behavior and the kinds of things we could do to modify that behavior, to help the people. Okay.
Professor Kotler, thank you for this interview.
Well, you're